Henley here with you, CBMZ, the Carolina Beach Music Zone, and I am here with Jimmy and Darlene Harrison. How you guys doing?
How we doing?
I'm gonna
great.
shake the lady's hand first, Jimmy.
Yeah, okay, go ahead, you
Good-
shake mine.
Good to see you,
Good
sir.
to see you.
I tell you, incredible the careers both of you guys have had. Jimmy, you've traveled the world and did a lot of things, and you worked with folks like Sam Cooke, Mary Wells, Wilson Pickett, just to name a few out there. And your brother, of course, is Wilbert Harrison with the Kansas City, your professional drummer. Tell us about just a lot of groups, and I loved what we talked about out there. This is how I'm going to get you in here, Darlene, is how you guys got together with John P. Key and a lot of that kind of stuff. But you were at the Fabulous Fiestas, Geronimo and the Apaches, and you had a lot of songs there with those groups. And there's a song, we're going to get to the Lenny Curtis thing, there's just so much, but tell us about those groups first.
Well, first, how I got started was I was with my brother, Wilbert Harrison.
Right.
I was playing drums for him, and come to find out, they took me away from playing drums. I went from there to the Fiestas, left the Fiestas, and they started a group with me and my brother, Jimmy Bob Harrison. Left there. When I left there, I also went with Motown Record Company with Robert Bateman that wrote the song by the Marvelettes. And they didn't want me to use my name as Jimmy Harrison. Robert Bateman wanted to change my name to Lenny Curtis on account of my brother Wilbert Harrison.
Right.
And this is how this method can help me now come up with this big hit over there in UK. And also with Geronimo and the Apaches, this fella that Lipko, he was come from England. He wanted me to be sign another group because I had with so many artists. And he wanted me to change the group to Geronimo and the Apaches. So he came up with a song called Too Late for Tears. And it went up. Then he turned around and we wrote a song together called Oh Yes Baby, I Love You So, but that song was so tricky.
Right.
It was a different kind of groove that nobody else knows today, and that's why they still play it in UK. On top of that, I worked also with Jimmy Spruill, Wild Jimmy Spruill, and also King Curtis.
Wow.
And we did a lot of shows at the Apollo Theater. We worked at Small's Paradise. We worked at the Palms Cafe, Baby Grand. We worked at all these places. He had a 13-piece band. And I was the drummer with that. So,
what was that like? 13 pieces, and drummer, that incredible.
it was 13 pieces in the band.
Right.
Period.
But that sound.
Hey, we had to, fact, we had to do shows behind the different artists that worked at the Apollo Theater. That's why the band was so big like that. And this is how my fame and fortune came through my brother by. When in fact, he wasn't the one that was supposed to make the hit. It was my other brother, Bob Harrison, the one that's in New York City now.
Right.
What happened, my brother got tired, he couldn't make it. So the guy in the studio was getting angry about spending all the time in the studio. And he told, I said, Bobby, I tell you what you do. I said, since we wasting all this time in the studio, I said, let my brother get on the piano. And I get on the drums. Jimmy Spruill get on the guitar. And what happened, he popped just like that. The song just went crazy. They went jumping all over the studio. Wilbert couldn't wait for them to release the song. He took the song to WNJR in Newark, New Jersey. There was a demo. In fact, Bobby Robinson and them had left New York and went to Atlanta, Georgia to pick up Gladys Knight and the Pips to bring them back to sign them up on this label. Wow. The song got so hot, they had to come back and release the song, and I had to go and travel with him all around the country with different artists.
That was sort of like the old days of radio when you actually took it to the stations and worked it, and it just took off on its own, and it started.
But actually, it was a demo start.
It was a demo.
Yeah, right.
He took it himself.
Yeah.
He took it to the radio station.
I love it, man. Well, Lenny Curtis, your AKA name, I guess you would say, over in the UK, it is just really still hot over there. The songs, I know you can go on YouTube now and actually find those songs under Lenny Curtis if you search for that. Nothing Can Help You Now and Who You Gonna Run To. And those are all up on on YouTube, and you can. It's cool to watch those. Of course, as somebody who's put it on the 45,
That's right.
and you got it to watch. But that's just incredible. And like you said, the sound that you had then was just a sound really of its own, somewhat. That was so different. I think that's like what you said. The reason it's still hot in the UK is because of that. It's just sort of something unique.
Right.
In its own right.
Well, see, the reason why I so like that, like Ken was telling you about Motown sound.
Right.
They had a different sound from other record companies. There's a certain sound that they had that it would catch you just like this.
Right.
That's why those artists was popping like they was popping.
Right.
On account of that sound. And see, Motown got so hot. Then here come the guys from Memphis, Tennessee, Stack Records,
Yeah.
for an example.
Trying to get in on the
Trying to compete against Motown.
Right.
Not only that, they had another record company in the Philadelphia, PA, trying to compete with Motown. But they couldn't do it on account of Motown sound was so powerful. It was a sound that couldn't nobody else get.
Incredible, man. I'm going to tell you. Well, let's talk to Darlene, Jimmy, real fast. Jimmy, you like preaching to us over there, man, when you get into it. I'm getting a music education. I'm like a music education in church. This is a church of music education. I tell you, here we are in the legendary Studio East. Yes. And it sort of started for you here in a way. I mean, you were in music in your family and all.
Correct.
But at 14, you're recording here back when it was the Arthur Smith Studios. Correct. Really going back. And just, I'm going to let you elaborate on this. It was Joanne Williams and the Willing Works for Christ, and the song was
Keep on Praying.
And tell us a little bit about it. How did all that come about for you there?
At my home church in Mount Holly, we used to gather rehearsal, and she formed a group at that time. Consisted of my mom, myself, my cousins, and a few other church people. Right. And she said, "This is one song I want you to learn." So she brought us here together at the Arthur Smith studio. I was 14, and Arthur Smith himself was the actual engineer, and he just directed everything from behind the scene. I can remember it like it was yesterday. But that gave me a little leverage there, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
At 14, how did that feel, man? You're coming into a recording studio, especially Arthur Smith at the time, because the studio at that time on the eastern part of the United States, it was like this was the place, man, to get the things done.
It was phenomenal. At being 14, at that time you would think, it was going to launch, and you was thinking big time, and to
hear your voice on a record.
Yes, that was the big thing.
Do we still have records, right? CD now, right?
Very humble beginnings, and I'm just very grateful.
This is how I thought you guys got together as a couple and married now and all that, was with John P. Key, because both you guys have worked with him. That's and right. You found out you were related to him.
Right.
But that's not how it happened.
No.
So I'm going to get back to the John P. Key thing, but I want to know, how did you guys finally, with all this talent that's going on, how did you get together? How did you guys meet one another?
We were
in a nutshell.
Oh, wow. We were on Independence at a songwriters convention. We were both writers. So, and we were going over collaborations and looking at each other's materials, across the table. We're making out at each other at the same time.
Writing a song.
And, my brother Tootie. And so James Tootie Hogan, been out there a while, but he was the one that actually, he passed who? Your card or my card? Your card.
My card.
He gave it to me and said, "Get my call." I ain't got time for that. But to make a long story short, that was the beginning, and the rest is history.
True. And you guys have been performing and doing stuff together really ever since that time.
That's correct.
And I know both of you have been nominated for some Grammy stuff. In 2000, it was the Inner City Mass Choir with a song called "Be Ready." Now,
only Jimmy was the Grammy nomination.
Yeah. And then the Grammy thing has came back up again that you were telling me, and what was that for?
Okay. I was never nominated, but my song with the church choir, New Divine Destiny, with John P. Key and New Life, but it was the church choir, and my song hit the gospel charts across the country, called "I Found the Answer," that Pastor Key he wrote.
What was it like with John P. Key, and that just because it's such a large organization and what it is, what was that like to travel with that?
Wonderful. to get the groundwork and getting the professional training. You know, we had both had previous background training in the industry. However, to work with such a phenomenal artist and to be encompassed with him in the rehearsals, the late night sessions, the travel, it was, you know, we learned a lot.
Yeah,
and it was all about ministry and just
reaching folks
and reaching people. So, you know, you always got to remember, you know, never be ahead, but always, you know, be humble.
Be humble. You do. I think you have to be that way. I think when you see artists who are like that, it's the ego thing somewhat.
That's right.
But and I was talking about this with somebody the other day, as a matter of fact, but when you meet folks and you can just tell right off that they're, I guess it's a very genuine kind of thing, or who are truly pros at what they do.
That's right.
Because they don't have to have that. Right. And most of the time, you would never know that those folks have done what they've done until you really say, because they don't have to talk about it. It was there. And I think that's the most, in me in the entertainment business over the years of doing the radio thing and meeting artists like I have, that is one of the biggest things that I've seen that I really like about folks, that you know, the humble and of folks that have created something in the. Well, you guys are doing things right now. You had a song out, and we're working in the radio show right now. Sam Cooke tune that you guys had redone.
That's right.
And we got that. Want to have you on the radio as well. I got to get you guys on the radio because we have people chiming in about the song.
Right.
Now, what's the name of the song for that? I'm going to let y'all tell that.
Keep moving on.
And what a song it is. And it goes back to what we were just talking about in the entertainment business, is to keep on moving.
Inspirational, encouragement. And it's ironic how that transpired, because I was it was Black History Month, and I just happened to be in one room, and it was on Good Morning America. Hey, but anyway, I heard them playing it during the, you know, the rerun of the Black History Month. I said, wow, that's something I think Jim and I could really cover. So that's
how that sort of came to. And the next thing, here you go. You guys have been on TV a lot here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. I've seen you on 2 stations already, doing morning shows and all that. Man, incredible there. That's got to be fun in itself. Right. Just to be on the morning show and performing for folks. And when I see you guys out live, that's another thing I love. I love your shows, and you can see in you guys what the chemistry that you guys have and the love that you have for that. And the one thing that I like that you guys bring is trying to reach people is the gospel part of the show that you guys do. At every show, I believe you end with that to try to reach people, and that's great. That goes back to your John P. Key days and just your feeling and belief on things.
That's right. And we use this as a platform. You know, a lot of people, you got different tools to grab the audience, and this is our ministry. So at the same time, it is a way to express the goodness that there's better things and you can look forward to.
Well, and you never know who you're going to touch.
That's true.
With one word.
That's right.
That's out there. You never know. That's the way I feel about what I do sometimes.
That's correct.
It could be one thing you say that changes somebody's life forever.
That's right.
Well, guys, I tell you, where can they find out about Jimmy and Darlene? I know you're on Facebook.
That's right.
And what is the Eagle something Facebook? Do you know that right off?
You can just do a search on Google, Jim and Darlene. The band page, or Jim and Darlene Harrison. Just click the link and it'll pull up our page.
Right there. And we'll have links to those pages on CBMZonline.com. If you go there, all that information, all the artists that we've interviewed and folks talked to over the last few years, you can find all that right there. Well, Jimmy and Darlene, I tell you, what's ahead for you guys? We'll end on that.
Oh, we have some wonderful stuff that's getting ready to come down the pipe.
I can't wait. Music? Oh, we talking music.
Yeah.
It's coming your way.
It's coming.
All right. Cool deal. Thank you guys so much, Jimmy. I apprate it. Darlene, I love you. It's an awesome pleasure to see you guys when you see, because you do. Y'all have this energy. I'll leave here and I'll be smiling all day long. You can find out. I'm telling you. You can find out more about Jimmy and Darlene at CBMZonline.com. We're going to have them on the radio show probably in the next few months with Darin and Anita, so make sure to check that out too. DarinandAnita.com. Go there. Folks, CBMZ, we've got more coming at you down the road.